People are where they are because that is exactly where they really want to be, whether they will admit that or not. Every thought, every decision, every small surrender led them here. We shape our lives not by chance, but by quiet choices made day after day. Some choose growth, others choose comfort. Both get exactly what they asked for. The law is simple. Life always gives you the result of your choices. It's a difficult truth to accept because it removes the comfort of blame. It strips away the illusion that our circumstances are written by someone else's hand. Yet once you understand this law, once you see that your life is a mirror reflecting your own decisions, you begin to realize that you have always held the pen. You are, at this very moment, writing tomorrow's story through the choices you make today. Look closely at your life, your work, your relationships, your habits, your peace of mind. Every piece of it is the harvest of a decision once planted. Some seeds you sowed consciously, others grew from neglect, but each one was planted by you. If your life feels heavy, it is because you have carried certain choices too long. If it feels limited, it is because you have chosen the comfort of the familiar over the challenge of the unknown. This is not punishment, it is law. Life simply mirrors what you choose to put into it. Now, most people resist this idea because it challenges the story they tell themselves. It is easier to believe that luck, fate, or circumstance determine our lot. But ask yourself, if that were true, why do some rise from nothing while others fall from privilege? Why do some turn hardship into fuel while others use it as an excuse? The answer lies not in chance, but in choice. A man can be born into poverty and still choose the path of discipline, self-education, and growth, and he will rise. Another can inherit wealth and choose idleness, and he will fall. The difference is not opportunity, it is choice. For life, in the end, always bends toward the direction of our decisions. Every time you decide to act or to delay, to improve or to indulge, to move forward or to stay where you are casting a vote for the kind of future you will live in. Most people do not realize this. They drift through their days as if choices are small things, forgetting that empires are built or lost on decisions that once felt insignificant. No man ever suddenly arrives at greatness or ruin. Both are slow arrivals. Every success and every failure began long before it appeared, in a pattern of thinking, in a habit repeated, in a choice quietly made. You may not choose every circumstance, but you do choose how you respond to it, and that response determines whether it will shape you or shatter you. So if you wish to change your life, do not look at the calendar. Look at your choices. Every decision, no matter how small, is a seed of destiny. If you plant excuses, you will harvest limitation. If you plant discipline, you will get freedom. The law of choice does not play favorites. It only delivers the harvest of what you've sown. The moment you accept that you are exactly where you have chosen to be, that your thoughts and decisions built the ground beneath your feet, that is the moment you become powerful. Because if your past choices created your present, then your present choices can create a different future. The law of choice is not a burden. It is a gift. A reminder that you are not trapped, you are in command. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of your reality. And that means, starting now, you can choose differently. How successful people think differently about choice and responsibility. The successful take responsibility for everything in their lives. The unsuccessful blame everything outside of them. That single difference in thinking changes everything. The poor thinker says, "I had no choice." The wise thinker says, "I always have a choice, and I will make it consciously." The unsuccessful mind looks outward for reasons. The successful mind looks inward for answers. One seeks excuses, the other seeks understanding. One surrenders power, the other claims it. You see, every human being is surrounded by the same world, the same sun, the same seasons, the same laws of time and effort. Yet the outcomes differ wildly because some choose to live as creators while others live as reactors. The creator says, "I will shape my circumstances." The reactor says, "My circumstances have shaped me." Successful people do not see responsibility as a burden. They see it as freedom. For when you accept that your choices brought you here, you also accept that new choices can take you somewhere else. Responsibility is not blame. It is ownership. It is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. Unsuccessful people often think responsibility is unfair. They say, "Why should I carry the weight of what others did?" But the successful do not waste thought on fairness. They understand that fairness is a myth and that progress is a personal duty. Life is not fair. It is neutral. It rewards the one who acts with clarity and punishes the one who refuses to act at all. When something goes wrong, the poor thinker looks for someone to blame. A parent, a boss, a partner, the economy, even fate. The successful thinker asks, "What did I choose that led me here? What can I choose now to change it?" One sees himself as a victim, the other as a student. The first is chained to his past, the second is liberated by learning from it. This mindset transforms even failure into advantage. When the average person fails, he says, "This proves I cannot succeed." When the successful person fails, he says, "This proves I am learning how to succeed." Same event, opposite interpretation. The difference is choice. Success is not an event. It is a way of choosing. Every decision, from how you spend your morning to how you respond to challenge, either strengthens or weakens your direction. The successful make decisions deliberately, the unsuccessful drift. To successful people, life is not something that happens. It is something that is built. Every plan, every goal, every movement begins with a decision. And behind that decision stands the belief that they and they alone are responsible for the results. The average person fears responsibility because it removes excuses. The successful person welcomes responsibility because it removes limits. When you say, "It's my fault," you also say, "It's within my power to fix it." That is the turning point, the moment you stop waiting and start creating. Responsibility is not heavy when you realize it is the key to freedom. It means your future is not in someone else's hands. It is in yours. The hidden connection between mindset, habits, and destiny. A man's destiny is not written by the stars. It is written by his habits, and his habits are written by his mindset. Change the way a man thinks, and in time, you will change the way he lives. For thought becomes decision, decision becomes habit, and habit becomes destiny. Most people think destiny is something distant, shaped by large events or divine luck. But destiny is not built in single moments. It is built in patterns. Every repeated choice, every recurring reaction, every daily thought becomes a thread. Woven together, those threads form the fabric of your life. This is why mindset is everything. Because how you think determines how you act, and how you act determines who you become. If a man believes the world is against him, he will act defensively. He will shrink from opportunity, see risk in every chance, and waste energy protecting what little he has. And life, obedient to his belief, will confirm his fears. But if a man believes the world rewards effort, he will act boldly. He will see lessons in setbacks, chances in change, and growth in challenge. And life, faithful to his belief, will rise to meet him. The mind is not a mirror, it is a magnet. It draws to you what you continually hold within it. The poor mind attracts limitation because it lives there daily. The rich mind attracts abundance because it expects it, prepares for it, and acts as if it already belongs there. Mindset creates habits, and habits confirm mindset. It is a perfect circle, one that can work for or against you. If you think small, you will act small. And your small actions will convince you that small is all you are capable of. But if you dare to think expansively, your behavior will rise to match your vision. Soon your actions reinforce your belief, and the cycle becomes your greatest ally instead of your greatest enemy. Every great achievement began as a single thought, but only because that thought was allowed to repeat until it became a habit. The habit of perseverance, the habit of focus, the habit of refusing to settle. These are not accidents. They are choices repeated until they become second nature. The average person hopes for better results without changing the habits that created the current ones. They say, "I want a better life," while keeping the same routines, the same circle, the same excuses. But life cannot give new outcomes to old patterns. To change your destiny, you must break the cycle, and that begins not with action, but with thought. Start by examining what you believe to be true about yourself and about life, because your beliefs are the architects of your habits. If you believe effort is wasted, you will stop trying. If you believe success is possible, you will begin building. The choice, once again, is yours. You do not need to change everything overnight. You only need to change the direction of your thoughts, because even a 1-degree shift maintained over time leads to a completely different destination. Mindset is the compass. Habit is the path. Destiny is where the compass and the path meet. How to break free from excuses and reclaim your personal power. Excuses are the language of limitation. They are the soft pillows on which dreams go to sleep. Every man who has failed to rise has a list of reasons why he could not, and every man who has succeeded could have used those same reasons, but refused to. The greatest prison in the world is not built of stone or steel. It is built of excuses, the quiet stories we tell ourselves about why life cannot be different. I wasn't born in the right place. I don't have the right education. I don't have time. I tried once before. These words sound harmless, but they are the invisible bars that hold us where we are. Every excuse is a trade. When you make one, you trade your power for comfort. You exchange your authority for avoidance. You surrender your ability to change in order to stay at ease. And the tragedy is that while excuses protect you from temporary discomfort, they also rob you of lasting growth. Life does not respond to words, it responds to action. The man who spends his time explaining why something cannot be done will always find himself employed by the one who is quietly doing it. The poor thinker looks for justification. The rich thinker looks for solutions. One seeks to be understood, the other seeks to understand. The first protects his pride, the second protects his progress. Excuses flourish in the absence of accountability. The moment you decide that no one is coming to save you, that your results, your happiness, your future are yours alone to build, the excuses lose their meaning. Responsibility once again becomes freedom. Breaking free from excuses requires honesty, the courage to face yourself without disguise. Ask, what am I pretending not to know? What am I blaming to avoid changing? Those questions sting, but they reveal the truth. And truth, even when painful, is the birthplace of progress. Once you see your excuses clearly, they begin to lose control. You start to notice how small they are, how fragile. You realize they were never walls, only shadows. Step through them, and you discover that freedom was waiting on the other side all along. From that moment forward, something powerful happens. You stop waiting. You stop blaming. You stop hoping for someone to notice or rescue you. You begin acting, thinking, building, improving, because you finally understand that no one else can live your life for you. Excuses fade when purpose grows. The man with a vision larger than his fears has no time to explain why he cannot. He is too busy proving that he can. So, look closely at your life. Whatever is missing can be traced back to a choice avoided, a truth ignored, an excuse accepted. The moment you reclaim those choices, you reclaim your power. There is no greater victory than the moment a man stops saying, "I can't," and starts asking, "How can I?" For in that single shift, he walks out of the prison of excuses and into the freedom of responsibility. The mindset shift. that turns awareness into success. Awareness alone is not enough. Many people see clearly what is wrong in their lives, but few ever act on it. They recognize their poor habits, their limiting thoughts, their wasted hours, yet they remain unchanged. Why? Because awareness without responsibility is paralysis. It is seeing the mountain but refusing to climb. The shift that turns awareness into success begins the moment you stop observing your life as if it belongs to someone else and start steering it as if it were entirely yours. Awareness must become decision, and decision must become disciplined action. Only then does knowledge turn into progress. Most people mistake realization for transformation. They hear a truth, nod in agreement, and feel inspired for a moment. But inspiration fades, and they return to the same patterns as before. The wealthy, the accomplished, the fulfilled, they do something different. The moment they see, they decide. The moment they understand, they act. The bridge between knowing and doing is the birthplace of success. Success is not a matter of discovering new truths. It is a matter of applying the truths you already know. The laws of growth are simple, but most ignore them because they demand consistency. To turn awareness into wealth, into strength, into meaning, you must align your choices with your understanding, even when it is uncomfortable, especially when it is uncomfortable. Awareness will show you the path, but discipline will walk it. The poor thinker waits until he feels ready. The rich thinker acts, trusting that readiness grows through motion. Waiting for perfect confidence is the surest way to remain unchanged. When you begin acting on your awareness, something remarkable happens. Your mind and circumstances start to align. The world responds to action, not intention. Every choice, however small, sends a message to life. I am serious about change. And life, true to its nature, responds in kind. Another key to this shift is understanding that success is not a single act. It is a rhythm. It is not the grand decision that changes everything overnight. It is the steady string of small, deliberate choices that accumulate power. You do not transform your life in a single moment of insight. You transform it through 1,000 small follow-throughs that prove your insight was real. Those who succeed see awareness as an invitation, not an ending. They don't simply say, I know better. They live better. They act on what they know until it becomes habit. And once it becomes habit, it becomes destiny. Awareness is the first door. Choice is the second. Action is the key that opens both. What truth have you been ignoring because it demands a change you fear to make? What awareness have you allowed to sit idle, unexpressed, untested? The gap between where you are and where you wish to be is not ignorance. It is inaction. Once you bridge that gap with consistent choices, the world begins to shift beneath your feet. Opportunities appear, confidence grows, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. That is the final law of choice. Awareness gives you sight, but only action gives you freedom. So, life does not happen to you. It responds to you. Every thought, every action, every decision has been casting votes for the person you have become. And if you look around and see a life you wish were different, remember, the same law that built it can rebuild it. You are not bound by your past choices. You are guided by them. They show you where your thinking has been, but they do not decide where it must go next. The moment you choose differently, life begins to move in a new direction. Choice is the purest form of power. It cannot be taken from you, only forgotten. The poor forget they have it and live by reaction. The rich remember they have it and live by design. Every man and woman has this power. The question is, will you use it? You cannot choose the weather, but you can choose how to walk through the storm. You cannot choose every circumstance, but you can always choose your response. And in that response, you either rise or remain. So remember this law. You are exactly where you have chosen to be, but you need not stay there. The road ahead is open. The pen is in your hand. Choose growth over comfort. Choose discipline over excuse. Choose responsibility over blame. And one day you will look back and realize your life did not change by accident. It changed the moment you did.